Hi people, how you doing? So there's few things that I wanted to make clear. First of all, I really don't have the intention to give the knowledge I'm giving right now in exchange of money. This is not in my goals for the moment. So it's really a passion for me, something I am passionate by, and that's how I'm giving it to you. This is in this state of mind. So this is said, and second, here we go again, guys. Going to talk about the Metascription, so another episode on it. Now we're going to dive deeper in what you're seeing, so the schematic part that I've been showing you in the last video all along, and I'm going to explain you each of those elements. So here we are. So I've been explaining to you already that this is a unity of the system, that we take it as that. So we are going to etudiate, I think we say. We're going to try to understand only this part for the moment. Okay? So this is for a better understanding. As I told you, Metascription is only about making you understanding what you can really about the dimensional system, because each person will have a point of view which is its own on it, because it is a system that talks about life. So we all have our points of view on life because we have our own experiences. So here we are. I'm going to explain you first the name of each dimension here. So the first is named the form or the structures. Okay? So the first represents the bodies, for example, if we have a perspective of the human, for the human perspective, for example, it would be the body. But for an insect, it would be this body also. But for, let's say, a galaxy, we could take the planets or the suns as the forms of the galaxy. You understand? But this would be the one. In the body, what is the more close to the one is the bones. You understand me? So it's the structures, they are dense. Here, as we're talking for humans, we will take the bodies for the one. Then there is the second dimension, which is about, for the humans, again, desires, affinities, and attraction. So this is what kind of things are going to link the first form, the body, to other bodies or forms. It is by desires, affinities, or attraction. So this is the second dimension. As you can see it here, I think you start to understand that the second dimensions are more about conceptual things, they are more about psychic things or non-visible things. They are what creates the movements. Desire is what creates the movement, affinities too, and attraction too. But as it is what creates the movement, we only see the movement. We could see it, but we're not used to perceive the origin of the movement. But now you see it because it's obvious for us. We are at a state of development in which we understand what our desires, affinities, and attractions. But sometimes it can be unconscious. You can have a movement and not be really conscious about its origin. So most of the time it will be desires, affinities, or attraction. Anyway, then we have this third dimension, which is a yang dimension. So it is a dimension that contains forms. Okay? It is a plane of existence, a field of existence. So here it is the environments and the context. So environment being many forms that are organized together, that are exchanging things, so they are linking together by affinities or attraction or desires. And so they create worlds, two humans attracted together by desires, they will create an environment or a world, meaning they will reproduce on a large scale. It creates the human world, we can say, or environment. But also because men had affinities to what is moral, for example, or to what is spiritual, they have linked to spiritual ideas or moral ideas, and those linked has created the human context or environments as the philosophy, for example, or as all of the spiritual knowledge we have today. It has created an environment because they connected with other forms. Okay? So forms here being the information. Okay? The information they perceive inside of themselves. Let's move on now. And at the basic level, it would be the world, it would be the earth for us. The widest scale we could take would be the earth. Then it can be your country or even your culture or even your family. It depends on the scale we take. But I think you understand me now, clearly, about this. Then let's talk about the fourth dimension, which its description is longer because you will see it's not on the same scale than the other one. It's another scale of understanding. So the four meaning here, this is what I've written, I'm going to read it to you. Rules of the connection. So we breathe as human in air. We can't breathe in water as humans. But most of the fish, they breathe in water, right? So air or water or the connection, they are the physical thing that will permit the exchanges of the oxygen. For this example, it's the oxygen. So it is the element which is exchanged. But it is exchanged thanks to either the air or either the water, because there is a presence of air or water. So here, air or water represents the fourth dimension, which is the connection. You can also see the fourth dimension as the global connections, okay, the big connections, or the second dimension as the particular connections, or kind of the little connections. That's why I call it link. But on the fourth dimension, I talk about connections. The idea of love throughout humanity or throughout those humans who have it is a form of connection because it connects them on a wider scale. It's not the connection of two objects. It's a whole connection inside of an environment. I think you understand me now better. So yeah, connections are the links inside of the environment. They are on the environmental scale, okay? The global scale. So let's continue. The oxygen is the element which is exchanged. Breathing here is the rule of the connection. So the fourth dimension will define how the link will happen, or the connection will happen. It determines the kind of connection and the way the things are going to be received. So it's not the same way that you breathe in air, it's not with the same elements, the same physiological systems than those which permits you to breathe in water. The systems are different. So, as I told you, the connection is what will rule on the way of linking of each form. If you have a mind, you can link with your thoughts to forms. But if your mind is not working, for example, you wouldn't be able to link with the same mind to form. And mind here being the connection. So connection is really the space of connection, okay? The space that permits the exchanges. And the link is the particular exchange that happens, okay? So here, the connection is connection to existence. So the space here, which contains air, water, so space can be considered also the physical space as the fourth dimension, because it is what permits every of the objects to connect together. And here the connection is the connection to existence. So space permits the connection to existence. The forms connect to existence by breathing. If they couldn't breathe, they couldn't exist, those forms that are breathing. Okay? But I think every living form is breathing, so, you know. So here we have done a little, I don't know how we say this in English, a little round. No, it's the French expression, so I think it's great. We have seen few things, but they are important things. So I think it's clear. If I'm showing you all of this without moving, it's also for you to read, you know, during the video, or even to put it on pause, because maybe if you take a little bit more time, the words will have more meaning to you. You will let the meaning, you will let them sink inside of you deeply, and then it will wake up a wider meaning, a new meaning. Also, what we can see here in this unity, so the first part of the dimensional system, the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4, is that in this unity there is a division, a polarity. So it's on one side the first dimension and the second dimensions, which are the yin part of the unity, because it's the little one. You see, it's about the forms, so the individual forms and their personal connections to the other forms. Then, on the other part, which will be the yang part, obviously, there is the third dimension and the fourth dimension. Because they are, here it's about what is big or wider, okay? So it is about the environments of the world and the ways of connections inside the environments. So for example, inside of your body, one of the way of connection is the nervous system, okay? But the link will be the molecule that the neurons will exchange together or will give to the muscles. So the electric impulsion that they will create in the muscle, this is the link, okay? The connection is the nervous system or the muscle in itself. The link is what is exchanged on a particular level. So you can see that connections are about what is big because they are the ways of connecting inside of an environment. They are the connecting function inside of an environment, we could say also, or the structures that permits the connection. But as I gave you the example of the nervous system, I think now we're all on the same level. I think we're all okay. So this is the yang part of the unity. So another example, so one more time here you can see how the polarity is in everything, duality is in everything which is manifested. And we can take almost anything as a unity. I think we even can take anything as a unity, and we will find polarities inside of it. And of course, there is another polarities inside of the polarities. Briefly, because you know I can tell it now. So you know the first dimension and the third, they are uneven dimensions, so they are yang dimensions. The second dimension and the fourth, they are even dimensions, so they are yin dimensions. So you can see that in the yin part, there is the yang dimension, which is the 1, and the yin dimension, which is the 2. So the yang part and the yin part. Even if it's itself is the yin part of the wider unity, which is the whole 4 dimensions took together, or which I named the first part of the dimensional system. So it is the more dense part. So here we are, guys. I hope you liked it. It was a pleasure again, and see you. Bye.